This, my friends, is what happens to clay soil when you don't have rain for 2 weeks. It gets a little bit gnarly. These are all over. Now, it doesn't mean things aren't growing. We're in the golden hour this morning, and I thought I'd take you on a little trip. We're gonna be hitting 100 degrees today, and things are really fading fast. So before it's all gone, I'm gonna show you what we're hoping to harvest, what we're still trying to let grow, and what we're going to be doing now. So flowers I've been watering once in a while, but not always. They haven't been deadheaded for about 4 days now, but I have a couple cantaloupe here. I think I have 4 of them. We'll hopefully harvest. That was the biggest one. Pumpkins. We've got several. And I should have enough to decorate with. Melons. Still hoping to get 4. This is probably our biggest one right here so far. And I'm hoping he's going to grow a little bit more. Got 3 over here that are a little smaller, but hoping to harvest. We pulled out the squash, of course. It was getting kind of to the end, and this part down here hasn't been amended as much, and it doesn't have as many pine needles on it for mulch, so it's not doing quite as well as the flowers up there are. The raised bed is doing fairly well. I have been shading it some around 11:30 till about 2:30 when it gets shaded over in this area, which has helped it quite a bit actually. It's kind of taken off a little more since I started doing that. We should get some lettuce and spinach and beet leaves at least off of this. The garden, it's a little wild, and it's getting a little bit used up, but there's still a lot of life to it. We've got our mini pumpkins. There's white and orange ones in there. Got some gourds. And there are some larger gourds. I don't know if you can see it very well. There it is. There's a green and got a little bit of orange on it back there. And then there's that huge one right there that I'll show it from the other side too, but it is I'm not sure it's even good, but I'm gonna take a look at it today. We're gonna give these just a little bit more time, and some of the vines that are dying back I'm gonna pull out probably tomorrow. Well, when it's a little bit cooler, we'll just say. I have this gnarly one here that is growing in the fence. So I thought I'd just leave it there and see what it does. The strawberries and rhubarb are doing really well. They're starting to get a few strawberries on the everbearing on this side here. I have gotten a few little snacks from that. The rhubarb on the further end is one that I got locally, and it really is doing better than the one that I put in first. So hopefully, as I'm using them next year and not just leaving them to grow, I won't have this problem with the leaves. These sunflowers, I'm gonna be taking some of them down today. I think I'm just gonna take the heads and lay them on my bird feeders and leave the ones that are still blooming for a little more color. We've still been getting a lot of the spoon tomatoes and the cherry tomatoes. These are just adorable. I love these things, and they are just a burst of flavor. It is still blooming, and I may try to take this in and keep it for a while, or keep a runner of it and let it grow over the winter, so I have some little tomatoes to throw in tacos. My peppers are just starting to turn. I have red and yellow. So some of the red ones are getting some color here. The yellow one's not as much, but there is one with one of the other batches that is. But there's a lot of fruit on these, and we really have been even using some of them here and there. They're not huge, but they're definitely usable. The Roma tomatoes, I'm hoping that I can harvest everything that's on here. I have been drying them in my dehydrator for eating, snacking, or saving for, we all love Tuscan chicken, and that is what the plan is. I am emptying some of these pots. I haven't been watering them the last couple days because I knew I was gonna throw them this weekend. So those are looking a little shabby. But there's quite a few tomatoes on here, but we have picked a lot. I think I've ran the dehydrator like 5 times full so far. These are some of the vines that'll get cut back. There's quite a few under here. There's white ones. There's one. There's another one down there, but I don't think they're going to be producing much more. So I think where they're longer, I'm just going to cut them down. There's a big gnarly one that I think has probably some bugs in it. But I'm just letting him be a little bit of I'm letting him get eaten so they leave the others alone. I'm thinking that little Kajari melon is gonna be ready very soon. They actually fall off the vine when they are ready to be picked, and I have it being held up, but it is still connected and it's not quite dry yet. Down here I have some small melons. I think there's multiple of them there. There's one here. There's a couple hanging here. There's a Kajari back in there. And I've got a couple Kajari hanging here. So I keep watering them. Somehow my cucumbers have made a comeback and are actually giving me a few fruit. So I'm liking that. This is the carrots and peas and beans that I put a second batch in. I have been getting a few beans off the pole beans so far. And I see that these beans are gonna be flowering soon. So I really think I'm gonna get another harvest off of those, which is pretty cool. I've never had a second batch before or even thought about trying that. So hopefully we got a couple more weeks and we'll get some more harvested out of there. Some more peppers. Starting to turn a little bit here. Some good fruit there. We have been using the nadapinos. There's a few more on here. Excuse me, and it's actually still blooming. So I think I'll get a few more there. I took out all the squash, and when I did, there was this one left, and it looked fairly healthy. So I decided to stake it up and leave it here and hope I can get a few more squash off of it, which would be really cool. I know I got some cucumber beetles. Saw some, but anyway, we still are getting cucumbers. There's one back there, and I know there's a couple on here around. So we'll see. I'm just gonna leave it. And then since I took out the patty pan squash here, my climbing spinach has started growing for the first time this summer. So yeah, that happened. My asparagus beans, you can see there, I'm getting a few off of it. There's some ants on it. But there's a few more coming on. Right there's one. And I just throw them in with the green beans, and every once in a while we have enough for a meal. So I need to get some of this dill picked some more and put in the freezer here like really soon. These tomatoes are looking kind of shabby. They still been producing. These are the Boxcar Willies. I've been picking them just when they're blushing. And this one is a nice sized one yet. These are the beefsteaks. We've gotten quite a few that I've been eating tomato sandwiches every day for lunch. And I don't know. I'm hoping that these will get a little bigger and still ripen. We still have a few more weeks, but most of them are pretty small right now. So I'm hoping that we can get a few more off of here, but it's really slowed down a lot. Even though the okra has taken some hits, and I actually planted it pretty late and it got disturbed by the deer. I have had probably 6 or 7 only off of this, and I've learned a lot, and I will grow it again next year because I really, really do like them. And I think I can do better, but I will plant them again. So it's been a really fun experience, tasting those and growing them and just seeing what they are, because I've just never had any experience with them at all. So that's been super fun. Isn't this just crazy? Look at, I can almost put my whole hand in there. Just from 2 weeks of no rain. This clay just comes apart. You feel like you're gonna just drop down. Ugh. I put these in kind of late, and I love them so much. I have their seeds come out in little clumps, and I have a bunch inside that I'm drying. But they're just beautiful, and I think I'm gonna put them in Mitch's Hawkeye area next year because they really are doing better than the pansies did. And my brother-in-law will like that there's no pansies in the Hawkeye garden bed, flower bed. I know the mulch still isn't done, but the flowers are doing wonderfully. So the purple cone over here they have really, well, they literally are about ready to blossom, a few of them. And I'm very hopeful for their return next year and that they'll do better and be bigger, and that they're just really getting some good root systems right now. So my black-eyed Susans, this has been a learning experience. I didn't realize there were different kinds. When I bought at other places, they've always just been black-eyed Susans. But I have had these in the past and they have looked different. Now this is the first time I have grown them from seed, and I thought it was just because it was their first year, until these started blooming. And this is the type of plant that I am used to seeing for my black-eyed Susans, only in yellow. These are called cappuccino black-eyed Susans, but they are a different variety. I looked on the package, compared them, and there's definitely a huge difference in the plants. These are staying much more upright. They have much larger flowers that are just, they really are a handful flower and bigger. Here's one of the bigger ones here. And as you can see, these are much smaller. And also the coloring in the plants. This is a much lighter green here, where this is a more darker foliage, and that's what I'm used to seeing, is that darker foliage. Excuse me. So I may be taking out these black-eyed Susans over here and trying to find seed for this kind of black-eyed Susan that is yellow, not the cappuccino. These have kind of laid over, and I don't like that. We have too much wind here for that, especially up here in the Hawkeye garden. You can really tell, and I really want that better look in this area. These just look kind of disheveled. I've had to put up some supports just to keep them off of the sidewalk, and it's kind of been a struggle. And like I said, I thought it was because their first year, but now I'm thinking it's not, because look at how they just are bent over. I do have some Shasta daisies that I'm hoping will bloom next year down under there. And I also have hollyhocks that I'm hoping will come back and bloom next year. They are black hollyhocks. Go Hawks, first day of football today. So hoping for a win. Over here is some more of the black-eyed Susans, and then boom, there's this. And these things, oh my gosh, they're massive flowers, and they have been blooming for like at least 2 weeks already. And this was the first one that bloomed, this huge one, and it had a leaf missing here from the beginning, but it really really is a showpiece, and there's more blooms to come on it. So my potted plants I'm watering yet. I was gonna come over here because I found a little sleeping bee. And I'm gonna try to show you. I did not know till this year that bees sleep on flowers. He's not moving. I have found many of them, and that was very new to me. And it's pretty cool. Sleeping bees. Who would have known? These pansies in front of the house did really well. I'm gonna get rid of this little thing. Actually, I'm gonna try to save it over the winter and put it in a pot next spring. My basil is starting to flower. I need to pull that off, but it has deterred the deer. They have not been coming up here to eat anything anymore. And yes, they were coming right up to our door to eat those pansies. So yeah, my asters are starting to bloom. They're not really what I thought they would be. I don't know that I'll grow them next year, but this Asylum is just crazy on this thing. It has gone wild and is covering up pretty much that whole pot. But yeah, so pumpkin on a stick. We are actually getting some color on these, and they really are a very pretty orange. So once it freezes, there definitely will be some color left on these when they die back on the leaves. So kind of fun. I don't know if I'll grow them next year. Probably not that much. This area is probably going to get a perennial put into it. I already started a little bit of yarrow here, but I want to get something between those two windows that will be a perennial. This is a standing ovation grass. It's an ornamental grass that we got from, I don't know, Gurney's or something. And it really does have some color on it. And when it freezes, it's supposed to get more color on it, turning reds and oranges and yellows. I have 3 of those. I had 4, but I gotta contact them about a replacement possibly. But it really is gonna be pretty next year, I think, when it gets a little bigger. So the sunflowers need to go. I know it's a good angle here, but here are the firecracker vine. I think putting the sunflowers in that area was using up too much stuff, and it didn't establish as well as I would have liked it to have. And I will grow another one next year, but I probably will get a couple more and not put anything else in the pot. And last but not least, we're back to the bench. This year's been a learning experience for a lot of things, and I have ideas on what I want to grow more in the ground and more in different pots. And there's going to be some change starting with that, hopefully this fall yet, in prepping for that. But overall, I think we're still going to get some more harvest, but we've paid for our seeds, we've got some perennials, and we've learned a lot. So it's a beautiful morning. It's gonna be 100 degrees, and I'm going inside to do some baking with the last zucchini that I have for the football game today. Go Hawks.